Are you listening? Damn.
All right, welcome to a Showdown Sunday here in the AFC North. This is AFC North Talk. I am Tony Serino, representing the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll be hosting for the day because Ace couldn't make it today, but he did send in some videos, so you will certainly hear his take on both big games this week. We got Steelers, Bengals. We got Ravens, Browns. This is a weird division right now. No one really playing great, but we're going to decide on the field this week. We got Sonny from SZG Sports representing the Ravens. Quincy Carrier representing the Cleveland Browns. You're going to hear all of our takes. I appreciate that, Sonny. You're going to hear all of our takes today on the show on both games. We also want to hear what you have to think or what you think about these games. So make sure you make your voices heard in chat. You can submit super chats as well. So make sure you do that if you want to derail the show. Give us your thoughts on either matchup. All right, guys, let's get this thing started. We got a Sunday night football matchup. You got Ravens, Browns. I'm intrigued by this one. Maybe we'll do a little paper, scissors, rock, rock, paper, scissors a little bit.
Oh, fuck that.
Oh, within the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, we did all that work to not get
intro,
demonetized for the intro, and then you drop an F-bomb right to start the show. Way to go.
Well,
happy Thanksgiving.
Man. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I don't know if they celebrate that thing out there in London.
No.
I don't think they would, right?
No,
It's
they
more
don't.
of an
My
American
kids are in
thing.
school tomorrow.
All right. We got a super chat here from Chef 22504, $2 super chat says, y'all ready for this sweep? Let's see what happens on Sunday. Going to be an interesting one. But look, before we get to that game, we're going to talk, of course, Steelers Bengals. Before we do that, let's start with the Ravens and Browns, and let's get Ace's take on this game.
He did this at work.
We got a conference room take. I got no sound.
Yeah, no sound.
Yeah. No sound?
I got no sound.
Oh, well.
Uh-oh.
Give me a second then.
Okay. All right.
Well, I like how Ace forced the order because there's no world in which the Browns are not the premier game this week with the Ravens on Sunday Night Football. But,
Well,
hey.
It's an interesting take, though, because it does. I think for the Ravens, it almost feels like a losable game, right? The Ravens are top of the division. Obviously, they don't want to lose to the Browns. I'm not saying that that they're going to be okay with a loss. Obviously, the Browns, they need this one just to feel right again. But when we talk about Bengals Steelers, and I'll talk about this more then, that does feel more like we talk about marquee matchups. I mean, not necessarily loser leaves town because 5 losses in the AFC is not eliminating anybody, even in the North. But it's going to be, I think that's probably a more important matchup just for, both teams. Like, maybe not a loser leaves town, maybe a loser leaves heartbroken type matchup, where you feel like the loser of that game feels like they dropped one that they should have won, and both teams have some decently tough games left on their schedule down the stretch.
Losers fan bases shut up for like at least a week again.
Yes,
match,
that's right.
That's
That's right. He's gonna quiet. Although Steelers fans coming off of a tie to the Lions and then a moral victory against the Chargers, I don't know that you're hearing a lot of talk from Steeler fans, but that will change should they win on Sunday. Sonny, how we doing?
I'm working on it.
All right. Well, let me give you my thoughts first here, and then maybe we can get you two in before we go to Ace. Okay. First of all, everyone wants to know what's the line on this game. The line on this game Sunday night is Ravens by 3.5, and that really has not moved much.
Right, so
since, I got him.
No, yeah, but I think that's the
speakers.
Steelers one. For some reason, the Ravens one don't want to play.
Gotcha.
So,
is there just no audio? Can you hear the audio of it when you play?
I can't. I'm just trying to pump it through you guys, and I can't for some reason.
The wonders of live TV, everybody. So line on this Ravens and Browns game on Sunday night. Ravens by 3.5. And like I said, that line has not moved. We talked last week about the movement on the line between the Ravens and Bears, and a lot of that had to do with Lamar Jackson. This one hasn't moved, stayed pretty much solid at 3.5, and the over-under is at 45.5. I just don't know. So the problem for me with evaluating this game is, like, on the field, there's certainly some things to talk about when you talk about the Ravens and their success at throwing the ball down the field this season, certainly earlier on in the year, and the Browns and their inability and that, or their ability to lose receivers down the football field. But my problem with evaluating this game on the field is, like, how these two teams haven't played like the talent that they have in a couple weeks now. You talk about the Ravens, who are as hot or cold on a week-to-week basis as anybody in the National Football League, except maybe the Cleveland Browns, who are probably the most hot or cold team on a week-to-week basis. I mean, the one thing you can say about the Browns over the last 3 weeks is you could maybe take away that game against the Bengals and just say, okay, well, that was a division game. They beat up on a division opponent, but they were not good against the Patriots, not good against Lions. Is that more like who they are? Then you said, they didn't play well against the Steelers either. So, this one for me, it's tough to handicap overall. And then, we're coming down on Wednesday, and Quincy, I want to get an injury report from you. Baker didn't practice today, but the likelihood of him not playing is, I mean, he's going to play even though he didn't practice, right? Oh, did we lose Quincy?
No, he's there.
Quincy, is Baker playing this week?
He is.
No.
Yeah.
Is Baker playing this? Because he didn't practice today. Baker.
Yeah, he's probably gonna play. He doesn't practice. I mean, I'll talk about Baker being hurt.
Okay. Yeah. Because I mean, the problem with doing these things on a Wednesday, right? I know it obviously with the Thanksgiving schedule, we had to adjust everything around, right? But you see, look at an injury report from Cleveland, and it's just like, Donovan Peoples-Jones didn't practice, Landry didn't practice, Baker didn't practice, Dre Archer didn't practice. So it's, I mean, obviously, if
the only people they're not sure about is Donovan Peoples-Jones and Dre. Oh, shut up, and Anthony Schwartz, not practicing. So those are the two they're really worried about.
Yeah,
Baker's just not going to practice that much
at
this point, right?
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, I think in this game, look, I'm going to lean Ravens here because I think the Ravens are the better football team, even if the Browns have the better roster. The Browns just haven't shown it on the field in forever. And I still believe, as I've said many, many times in the past, the Ravens' problems are of their own doing. The problems with the Lions, the reason why they kept
keep you entertained.
Yeah.
That's all.
The problem with that Lions game is that Hollywood just stopped catching the ball. And then Lamar threw a really dumb interception, and that game was far closer than it had any right to be. The Vikings and Colts games are just complete no-shows from that team in the first half, and they showed up really well in the second half. The Bears game, even though Lamar didn't play, there's no way that game should have been that close anyway. So I'll lean Ravens here because, as I said, I think that they're the better football team, even if they don't have the better roster. They're capable, I think, of more. So I'll lean Ravens here, but 3.5 maybe is too much because this could very easily be a field goal game. Sonny, do we have Ace ready to go?
I think so.
Let's do it.
What's up, everybody?
Can you hear
Your boy,
Yes.
Sorry that I couldn't be there for today's show.
So it's a little quiet.
We're going to talk about
It is. That's the video.
breakdowns in these games, right? It's AFC North football. This is what we've been waiting for the entire season. That's why we do the show. So kicking things off, we're going to start with the Ravens versus the Cleveland Browns, right? This game is going to be in Baltimore, right? You've got a Ravens offense that is extremely hot if you're looking at it just from a total yardage perspective, right? When I say that, they're 5th in the league in total offense, 14th in passing, 4th in rushing, right? So it seems like on the surface that this would be a potent offense, but then you run into two issues with them on third down conversion. They're 24th in the league. And then you talk about the scoring, they're actually 18th. So offense that's extremely hot in terms of yardage, but when it comes to being able to convert things, being able to score, they've had some struggles there. And then we look at the flip side. When you talk about the Cleveland Browns, right, you talk about their total offense right now, 23rd in the league. That is pretty tough there. Number 1 rushing, though. So they do have the number 1 rushing attack in the league. As far as their third down conversion, they've also struggled offensively in that area, ranking 23rd. And then you talk about the scoring offense, they're actually 17th. So when you look at it from that standpoint, they actually score more than Baltimore slightly. So there's been some issues there. I'm sorry. I meant to say 20th in third down conversion and 23rd in passing. So they've had some issues on the passing offense. We already know that. Defensively, you're talking about the Browns' total defense right now. They're actually ranking pretty good there, 10th in the league. So they are a top 10 defense according to yardage in the league. You talk about their pass defense, they're 12th. Run defense, they're 11th. Baltimore, on the other hand, is having an uncharacteristic year defensively, and I don't think that we really talked enough about it on the show. But they're 21st in total defense. The passing defense, 30th. 30th. This is the same team that we said that the strength of their team was the secondary, right? And I understand that they've had the injury, right? But that doesn't excuse you going from a top 5 unit to 30th with one injury, right? And when I say that one injury, I'm talking about Marcus Peters, right? They still have Marlon Humphrey. They still have the same safeties with Chuck Clark. Now, I think they may have lost one safety, but that was recently, right? Majority of the season, they've had mostly the same guys, minus Marlon Humphrey. They have dealt with some COVID stuff, but majority of the season is what I'm talking about. This has been a complete 180 from what they have been in the past. So I think that that's one of the issues. But run defense, they're actually second in the league, so they're still good there. And obviously, we know that they're kind of a man defense. They like to blitz a lot, so we have to see how that's going to affect the game, because Baker Mayfield against the blitz hasn't done pretty well, especially in some of his recent games lately against the blitz, against blitzing teams. And so that's going to be, I think, setting the table for how this game is going to go, right? And so for me, when I look at those factors, things that I'm wondering, can the Browns offensively be able to take advantage of one of the worst passing defenses in the league? That is the question that they have to be asking themselves. You talk about the Cincinnati Bengals game that they had. They were able to get some deep shots. Donovan Peoples-Jones, they've been focused a lot lately on the tight ends. They did get Jarvis Landry involved last week. But can they take advantage of it? Because Baltimore is going to give you the opportunities. We talk about it every week. There's always going to be some opportunities in that secondary to take advantage of. But will they do it? Because this is going to be a team that can, on paper, match up with you to stop the run. Obviously, it's a heavy run offense in Cleveland, heavy, good run defense in Baltimore. One of those two are going to have to pave the way. And I think that Baltimore can have, or Cleveland can have, some opportunities, but how much will be remaining to see. So in this one, I'm looking at the trends, and as much as I want to pick Cleveland, because that opens up everything for the Bengals to take possession of the North, these trends that I've seen between these two teams kind of concern me. You talk about Baltimore being 4-1 at home. They're 4-2 after wins. They're 3-1 as the home favorite. Cleveland, on the other hand, is 2-3 away and 1-3 as a underdog away. And then I look at the ELO scores, and they've got the Ravens winning this by 5 with a 68% chance. So as much as I want to give this to Cleveland, thinking that with them having Kareem Hunt back in the mix, that could potentially change things, I have to unfortunately go with the Ravens in this one. And maybe the script changes once the Browns get out of that bye and come back the next week, and maybe that's the one that they can get. But unfortunately, due to the trends and due to what I'm seeing here from these two teams, I'm going to have to go with the Baltimore Ravens.
He brings up an interesting point there, and I should have mentioned this in my preview as well, which is, both Bengals fans and Steelers fans are big Browns fans on Sunday.
Right.
Now, it's like
everybody hating.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, there's going to be a lot. People accuse me of being a secret Browns fan. It's not a secret this weekend. I'm openly cheering for the Browns this weekend. I would like very, very much to see the Cleveland Browns beat the Baltimore Ravens, although it will be, kind of post-game after the Steelers. All right, we got a super chat here from Novastone12, a $2 super chat. We got a trade request, Q. Could Miles or Ward? Yeah, no. I mean, if there's anything that Q loves talking about on this show, it's
trading the best.
It's potential. Yeah, it's potential Browns trades to get a quarterback. So here, this one we got either Myles Garrett or.
I love the drop too here from hey man, we can get Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins. We're gonna trade Myles Garrett for Kirk Cousins.
All right, hold on. Well, I don't want. I mean, I got a massive derail here, but I think you probably right now you may want Kirk Cousins more than you want Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson just does not look like Russell Wilson.
Yeah, anymore. I know you're talking about how they're playing now, but to be honest, you just feel better knowing that the guy was a Super Bowl MVP at one point in his life. Kirk Cousins doesn't instill that kind of confidence. You still wonder if he could do some things because he's never done it in his career. You know what I mean? If you get Russell Wilson, you could always believe
you feel better.
Well, he could turn it on. He won the Super Bowl before. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers, obviously. Kirk Cousins, you man, is he gonna let me down in December again? You know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, if you think about attracting also free agents, right? The free agents, if you talk to Kirk
I don't
Cousins
think
or Russell Wilson.
any of these three dudes attract free agents all like
Yeah,
that.
but
Like
I
that-
just
Wilson?
doesn't. What free agent has he ever attracted?
Oh, Seattle doesn't sign any offensive players, right? They
That's what
all
I'm saying.
sign this defensive player.
yeah.
But when you talk about somebody being able to attract, like that means like you can get somebody to come for less of what they have, and most of what Russell Wilson gets is dudes in the draft because the ideal of playing with Russell Wilson isn't that alluring just because of how off schedule he is all the time.
Yeah.
And there is a mix of off and on schedule that a wide receiver wants. Aaron Rodgers, people just don't want to play with him because Aaron Rodgers kind of an asshole, but that's okay. You know what I mean? But he is who he is at this point. But like, you don't want to go kick it with Aaron. Like people would rather, as crazy as it sounds, like Cam Newton would be a better person to bring in free agents than Aaron Rodgers. Not because Cam Newton's anywhere near as good as Aaron Rodgers right now. People just like Cam. But yeah, and then Kirk Cousins, ain't nobody like, man, I'm gonna go to Minnesota to play with Kirk Cousins. Like that's just not how that thing works. But yeah, I Nova Stone, I feel like every time you ask these questions, you trying to troll me to get a reaction out of me, to get me to rant. I'm not doing it. I'm not taking the bait. So yeah, maybe we could trade Myles Garrett from one of those three guys. I doubt it.
Miles and 2 firsts.
For
That's
Lamar
right.
Jackson.
Miles and 2 first
For Rodgers.
for Rodgers.
Yeah.
No,
I
Miles,
think he's gonna cost
you
less
get
than that.
Miles. I remember that one trade the one dude brought up on Twitter. He was like, man, we will trade if you give us Miles and we'll give you 2 first and second round picks. And he didn't even give me anybody good. He gave me like Sammy Watkins. And then he made me give up Donovan Peoples-Jones and Dearness Johnson as well. And I was like, why would I give y'all Myles Garrett just so I could pick 32nd and 64 for the next 2 years? Like nobody wants to do that. That's dumb.
I'll take it.
What did Khalil Mack get traded for? Was it 2 firsts and a third?
Yeah,
It was
something like that.
something like that, right?
Third, but he came with the contract extension. That's a discount.
Right.
Yeah,
So wait,
because
what?
he
And then
signed
what
it.
did Jamal Adams go for? Was Jamal Adams like what, a first and a third?
No, 2 firsts.
Was it 2? See, I thought it was 2 first.
Yeah.
It
Miles
was 2
is
first.
at least 3
So
first.
So well then I mean like the floor is set right there. I mean you Jamal
you
Adams
can-
worth 2 firsts and guys are they,
Yeah, and then you have to think about it. Myles Garrett's at what, 15 million? So like not that terrible of a number. Well, not is he at 15?
I mean,
He's
it's
not
for
the
the
highest
team,
paid
the team that
defensive end in
gets it.
football.
Yes.
So he comes with an extension that's
depends on where
pretty
the
much
guaranteed
locked
come
in
in, yeah.
for like 2025. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's I mean, the value on that trade. Oh my God, you get Myles Garrett locked in at a decent number.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, I know you would.
Baltimore.
No, Miles Garrett is 25 average a year.
Okay, that makes more sense. 15
yeah,
is like a wide receiver number.
Yeah,
25 is the DN number.
25, but and then when you trade someone though, you obviously
That's
the guaranteed money comes off
Stays
the
with the
deal
other team,
in
yeah.
a lot of ways.
Yeah,
So I don't know how
mean,
the deal was structured.
Yeah, trading Myles Garrett would be an absolute disaster for
Yeah, you don't trade Myles Garrett.
Yeah,
You don't trade Myles Garrett.
You don't trade on Myles Garrett. But I don't know. On this
You
show,
should.
we were literally talking about the Steelers could trade TJ Watt during his contract thing. So,
Well,
you
yeah,
never
that was on the assumption that they were gonna the tank to move up to get a pick, but it doesn't seem like
yeah, nobody's tanking.
nobody's tanking, and the Steelers aren't drafting a quarterback. So there you go. That solves that. All right, let's get back to this football game. We got Ravens. We got Browns on Sunday night. Sonny, you got home field advantage here, so I'm gonna let you go first. Give me your thoughts on a showdown AFC North matchup here on Sunday night.
Okay. So this is a couple of things that scare me about this game. And I think this game might be decided in our offense against the Browns defense, because as bad as our defense is, which I will concede, our passing defense is not great, but the Browns passing offense has not been great either. So this is my silver lining. The Ravens have looked good lately, other than a blown play here or there on the passing side specifically. But we're going against pretty bad teams, right? Dolphins and Bears, they're not like top of the league on the passing side. But, and I'm shocked to say this because you guys know how much I have praised the Browns team preseason, before the season started. The Browns have not been able to move that ball consistently on the passing side. Now, on the running side, obviously they're phenomenal. This is no debate. They're top of the league, especially Henry, and especially with those running backs.
You got Derrick Henry?
No, I'm saying especially with no Derrick Henry,
Oh,
they're
Yeah, separates their rushing attack
Yeah.
from the
like
rest
we
of the
could put
league. Yeah.
Derrick Henry at quarterback and then put Nick Chubb in the backfield. We're gonna be all
Hey!
right. We're gonna run that triple option, baby.
Actually,
Like,
Sonny, I'll let you finish.
But my whole thing is because Kareem Hunt, they're saying that he might play, and
Yeah.
Conklin might come back.
They're playing this week?
Yeah, they both.
I
might
saw they
be
came
playing.
off of IR, but
Yeah, they're saying they have a chance to both play.
oh, interesting.
Yep. So obviously that changes a little bit more because one of the things that Baker or they have been alluding is the right tackle not being there obviously has to affect Baker. Well, Kareem Hunt, Kareem Hunt for me is the reason. Even though the Chiefs won without Kareem Hunt, I always said that the Chiefs team were never as good as that team that had Kareem Hunt, right? And then Kareem Hunt was suspension and yada yada yada. So saying that, look, for the first thing the Ravens need to do is figure out how to stop this running game. I know we're top of the league against the run, but I don't feel like the Ravens are this like shut down running defense. There's something about it. I just don't feel it. It might be because we haven't gone through a power running team, right? We haven't really gone through a team that is just pounding the ball, running. The Browns will be the first team. We haven't played Tennessee or some of the other teams that are more, potent to the run. It can be that. I think the only team that we play that is good in the running game is the Colts. And we did a decent job against the Colts. So stopping the run, this is a game for PQ. Tony, your boy, PQ.
Yeah, your boy.
Patrick Queen has to be good. He has been playing better, but he has to be good this game. Yeah. One thing he cannot do, he cannot over pursue a play. If he over pursues a play, I can see Shupp or Hunt or whoever the running back is, to be honest, breaking a 40, 50 yarder, maybe a touchdown run, right? So Patrick Queen, do not over pursue. That's a key number one. Bynes, he's older, but he's been doing a very good job staying in their lane, not over pursuing, hitting the gap when the gap opens, clogging that hole, right? Brandon Williams will come back this game. It looks like he has missed the past 3. So obviously that's positive for the Ravens. We need him. We need him in the middle. So if we can stop the run or slow it down, then we have a really good chance in this defense making sure this offense for the Browns does not go off. On the other side, on the passing, look, Marlon Humphrey will be there, but Aver probably out. Jimmy Smith probably out, right? And we have Miss Peters. That means Westry, which was the guy that got into the double move, got burned. He will be your starting corner on the other side. Tavon Young is hurt as well. He hasn't been practicing. So at this point, I don't even know who my third DB is. I cannot tell you right now who the third DB is because we are might be playing the 8th DB. So we might have undrafted safety playing defensive back. So saying that is we hurt right now. We're hurt on the defensive side. So the Browns will have opportunities, but they haven't been able to do it, right? They haven't been able to do it consistently, at least lately. I'm expecting Wing to bring the pressure to help those DBs. Yes, they're going to keep the DBs in, but they're hoping to take the ball out of Baker's hands early, quickly, and hopefully that makes the error. Now, let me go real quick on the defensive side because I don't want to take the whole show me talking. On the defensive side for the Browns, Lamar hasn't been practicing, right? Now, he says that he will play. Today, he went to the press conference. He said, no, I feel good now. Reality is he hasn't been practicing for 10 days, feeling like crap. So hopefully from here to Sunday, energy goes back. He can be practicing and he'll be fine. Hollywood Brown, he started to go to practice on offense. They're starting to be there for the practice side. They're gonna be as healthy as they're gonna be, right? So obviously the injuries there are IR. We're gonna take those away. Nick Boyle is coming back. The tight end, he came back last week, but this will be his second game. The running backs are the running backs. The O-line, but they're as healthy as they've been this year. So I'm expecting the Ravens to have a decent. I think this might be a low-scoring game, Tony. This will be.
Oh, you taking the under? Under is 45.5 here.
A 45. Yeah, well, I was gonna say 23-20 Ravens, so I guess I'm taking the under. It's gonna be a close game. I'm not expecting anybody to blow out. Look at now it'll be a blowout, but
yeah,
this is a game that, I think the Browns will score a couple touchdowns and 2 field goals. And I think the Ravens win on a field goal late and just, again, coming back, baby, and winning this
Well,
game.
Q, I'm going to go to you in a second, but I found my favorite DGen play of the week in this game, which is you can do a double result, right? So a double result means you pick who's winning at halftime and then who's going to win the game. You can get plus 525. So 5-1 odds here, plus 525 on the most Ravens result of all time, which is Browns win the first half, Ravens win the second half. Lock me in on my DGen play of the weekend. I'll take that double. I'll take Browns Ravens double result plus 525. Lock that in. All right. Novastone 12 here, a $2 super chat says, why Ravens always bad at forcing interceptions? Only 5 in 2021. And Sonny, I imagine this has to do with a little thing called being banged up in the secondary.
Banged up and Peters, right? Peters is your main guy in interceptions.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention, Stevens is your starting free safety from now on. So rookie, third round converted safety.
Mm-hmm. Or as I like to call him, Bond. Yeah. There's a lot of similarities between those two guys. Like them both. All right. Q, let's get your thoughts. It's a weekend where I don't know if you call this a must win for Cleveland. You're going into Baltimore.
Close.
Yeah, it's a season defining moment. How do you see this one going?
Oh, I'm going into this game with no expectations, baby. I'm just walking in and I'm willing to accept whatever it is that happens because honestly, I don't know, right? This isn't one of those games. Oh man, I feel bad. The Browns can get blown. I don't know. I really don't. Whatever Browns team shows up is going to be, it's like the slot machine in Vegas. Like you never know what you're going to get until you pull the trigger. But that's what we got here. I kind of disagree with Sonny here. I don't think this is going to be a game where the Browns going to be able to get away with just running the ball here, right? Look, I know the Browns run game numbers look great on paper. They look great on statistical overlays. But a lot of that is them breaking off big runs late in these games that mask is awful run production during the middle of the games, even with Nick Chubb. And this is where I've been frustrated with the offense, right? You don't score 14 points because your run game is the best in the league. You score 14 points because your run game is not helping you until certain points. And I've been in the crosshairs of every Browns fan imaginable this week, right? Because, some people feel like I'm not backing Baker enough. Some people feel like I'm backing Baker too much. Some people feel like I'm on this side and that side. I'm just trying to present what I feel like to be the truth. And the truth is polarizing at this point, right? But nonetheless, here it is. But yeah, so that's one thing, right? You never know what team is going to show up. You don't know if you're going to be able to run the ball. I don't think they're going to be able to. They didn't run the ball that well against Detroit outside 2 possessions. Why in the world do I think you're going to do that thing on Calais Campbell? When you couldn't do it on Detroit and they were ranked 28th. So I don't really think the run game is going to be what carries you in this game. I think that would be kind of foolish to think at this point because the run game ain't been like that to just run all over the Ravens. It would be a surprise, but, it ain't been that level. I know the numbers can suggest they've been at that level, but it just hasn't from watching them every play. So this is going to be a game where the quarterback's going to have to make plays, man. This is the part of the schedule. The Browns schedule from now on, quarterbacks got to make plays to win games. And Baker Mayfield, I know a lot of people. I've been so annoyed this week because people have been saying all week, man, people aren't talking about Baker's injuries. It's Baker's injuries is why he's playing bad. I mean, that ignores the fact that he tore the shoulder on an interception that was pretty bad in the first place. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he was playing God level and then just got that shoulder injury and played bad. No, he's been playing bad for quite a while. And to be honest with you, I didn't feel breakdown of that Lions game. I don't know how you watch this man play quarterback. Watch him on one play, rip the ball 55 yards down the field, on target, on line, on the run, opposite side with ease. And then when he misses a 5-yard jump pass to David Njoku, tell me, oh man, it's the injuries. It's not the injuries. He's just being inconsistent. That is what it is. And the thing with being inconsistent, the thing with being streaky, the thing with being Baker Mayfield is that thing can change at any moment for no reason at all, right? He can turn it on and light it up. There were like 5 or 7 throws there that could have been huge for him that he just flat missed. You know what I mean? The thing that I worry about with Baker Mayfield in this game is one thing I pointed out in my film review. Baker in this offense, the way it works and the way a lot of NFL offenses work is you do your pre-snap read and you pick the half of the field that you want to attack and you set your body to, right? You see this with guys like Tom Brady. You see this with most pocket quarterbacks. When they get out the pocket, they normally do their set heavily slanted towards one side because that's the design of the offense. You read the offense and you pick a side of the field. The problem with Baker has been, one, he's not great at deciphering blitzes. He does not know who's coming and who's going, which hurts him a lot. That's one of the reasons why he's probably not so great against the blitz this year, because he just doesn't know when it's coming. Because if you do know when the blitz is coming, you can kill the blitz, but he doesn't. And then also, sometimes he doesn't pick the right half of the field, right? Like he doesn't decipher the defense well enough to pick the right half of the field. And it comes out especially against teams that disguise heavily, that put a lot of people on the line, like New England, like Detroit, and like Baltimore. So that gives me a huge amount of concern. Not alone the fact that the Browns are a team this year that have made a way of finding a way to keep teams in these games. You know what I mean? Like they have not been the closer at all. And good God, is there a team you don't want that problem with more than Baltimore this year? So yeah, there's a lot of reasons to not take the Browns on this week. It's a road game. They have not played well. This is going to be a game where Baker is going to have to make plays. And most of these games down the stretch, Baker's going to have to make plays to win this game. I wouldn't count the Browns out of it just because they could turn it on at any moment here, right? Like they would be.
They have the personnel.
Yeah, they have the personnel. Yeah. And it's not like the personnel, well, some of the personnel is injured, but you know, I mean, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, Baker can play good if he like plays good, but I don't know what's going on with him. He's honestly in his own head at this point with some of these throws that he doesn't make. That he really should. But you know, it is what it is. Now, the biggest thing that could wreck this game for Baltimore is Myles Garrett.
Yes.
We've seen that wreck a game. We've seen Myles Garrett carry a bad team into overtime on Andrew Villanueva's backside. So we know that can happen. Is he going to be out there? Big Andy going to be out there left tackle?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
We had no choice.
Of course.
I didn't know if he got
confidence there.
You guys know how the Ravens like lose 5 people per game, and it never affects them. But
he's one of the few not in the injury report.
So that's good for the Browns. All right, so Andy's going to be out there. Now, I have to give Andy credit because he actually played well the last time he played Myles Garrett, right? He actually had his best game against Myles Garrett in his career versus him. And honestly, a lot of what Myles Garrett's done versus Pittsburgh hasn't really been against him. It's just funny to say it's against Big Andy because he's all tall and like.
No, he's struggled. No.
He's definitely struggled. Don't get me wrong here. Yeah. He's definitely struggled, but like other offensive linemen on the Steelers have struggled to block him.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean? It ain't just him. But yeah, Andy's probably like the guy that's prototypically not built to defend anybody like Myles Garrett. Like that's just not his deal. So that's going to be something that can wreck this game, right? If Myles can get behind can help the Browns defense get Baltimore behind the stakes, you have a chance there. I don't know if you get the Ravens off the field on third down because the Ravens are pretty good on third down and the Browns defense has had issues on third down. Look, there's no way that I am dicing this up that I feel good about this game going into it from a logical standpoint, but there's something spiritual that does make me feel good about it. Not good enough to pick them. You know what? Actually, I'm going to stick with my pregame strategy. This is going to be a Ravens booty beat down on the Browns.
I like it. The old reverse jinx. It never fails.
It's going to be a Ravens booty beat down on the Browns. This is where Lamar is going to reassert himself into the MVP conversation. Hopefully, this is a shootout or something because that would be very enjoyable to watch. I'm pretty sure the Ravens are going to give us something to watch here in this game.
Oh, yeah. Intrigued.
But, yeah, unfortunately, I can't, with a sober mind here, pick the Browns to win this game. So Ravens are going to win this one, in my opinion. I pray that I am absolutely wrong. I hope that I look stupid on this show
I hope
on Monday because Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb blew up that defensive line. But I don't think it's likely.
It's possible.
Okay, so
go ahead.
I forgot to mention this because Q's correct. I need the interior of the O-line for the Ravens, which has been okay. I need them to play great because I don't think both tackles are going to be able to handle whoever the pass rush is for each side. I'm actually expecting both tight ends to play more in this game, to be there in that line to chip them inside and help them, because it ain't looking good so far for neither tackle. Q, one of the things I agree with you. I guess I didn't make the point right because I agree with you that Baker will need to make plays. I was just more saying that the Browns will get their yards running, but the Raiders need to shut down the run, because if they don't shut the run, that's when it's going to get dangerous. But there are going to be plays there to be made by Baker Mayfield. Again, the secondary right now, the whole injury reports, the secondary minus Marlon Humphrey and Westry. Again, the guy that got double move in that pass for Andy Dalton. So there's plays to be made in that secondary. And Njoku always has a good game against us. And who Baker likes to throw it to? The tight ends. So I'm expecting Njoku to have a good game because, again, who's going to cover it? Stevens? That's probably the guy that they're going to put on Njoku. So Baker will have opportunities. The question is, will he take advantage of those opportunities? He's been iffy, as you mentioned, and that's what I'm banking for, right? That he still is going to be inconsistent. I think he will get at least one big play. I think at least one big play you will see from Baker to whoever. And that's why I think 23-20, probably a big play on the touchdown, on a passing touchdown, and maybe a rushing touchdown on another drive that they move, and a couple field goals. But I think it's going to be close. It's definitely going to be close. This is a game that our secondary is just bad right now. There's no way to just sugarcoat this. If Baker... I know Baker has played the Ravens a bunch of times. He has never faced a secondary as weak as this for the Ravens. So
has he ever played the Ravens and not thrown an interception?
He threw an interception even when you guys beat us in that big game.
There was the one the Joe Flacco game. Did he throw an interception there? Because I know he threw one in the CJ Mosley one. And in 2019, he threw an interception the first one. I don't know the second one, but the second one was a blowout. And in 2020, he threw an interception in that second. He definitely threw an interception.
Yeah, Bowser has intercepted him a couple of times. I think even his rookie year. Yeah, I think he might have.
Really, what's that question? Is that one 2019 game at the end of the year, and then that one 2018 one at the beginning of the year? Did he throw? I'm pretty sure he threw an interception there.
Yeah, I think in the beginning of the year. Yeah, I think
2019, baby. It's a pretty good bet he threw an interception.
Yeah, that was his year. That was the picks year.
One thing I'll say about this game, we talked about some of the issues with the Browns kind of off the field, the team kind of coming apart at the seams a little bit, specifically Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, that offense, and some of the struggles they've had. Look, a division game like this, if you need to come together for one thing, or coming together for a huge game against a division opponent, this could be kind of a get-right spot for the Browns in some ways, because this opponent, you've played them a ton of times. And so that is something to watch for in this game. Like, it wouldn't surprise me, like Hugh was saying, if the Browns do come out and look really good in this game. And as I said, my DGen play is that they're going to look very, very good in the first half of this game, because the Ravens have done this thing this year where they do not look very good.
If Coughlin and Hunt are playing, essentially your offense is fully healthy.
Well, DPJ is big. DPJ is a big.
Yeah. Well, he's I agree. But for the most part, you're missing a receiver with on an offense that doesn't throw to the receivers as much. But you have your full O-line and all your running backs and tight end. So that's big for the Browns.
Yeah, but this game. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, by the way, it is confirmed. He has never gone a game against the Baltimore. The Baltimore Ravens are the anti-Cincinnati Bengals in this situation. He has never gone a game ever against the Ravens where he has not thrown at least one interception.
Yeah. I think his first game, Bowser intercepted him. And Bowser intercepted him again last year.
Well, it goes to what I'm talking about with the problem, right? Because what does Bowser do? He flashes blitz and he bails. He has trouble seeing that, especially underneath. It's what Minkah Fitzpatrick does to him a lot, right? Where he goes and goes to Robert Thief for whatever reason, and this probably is due to height, right? This is where height comes in to be an issue over the middle of the field. He just loses guys in the middle of the field. And that's been a big thing for him. So, I'm pretty sure Baltimore is going to do that. Hopefully he doesn't go pick.
All right. Before we keep going here, we have a huge, as I said, Showdown Sunday here in the AFC North. But want to let you guys know our friends over at Manscaped are having a big sale on Black Friday. So this Friday, if you go to their store, you'll get 25% off anything site-wide. The performance package, the weed whacker, the crop preserver, I'm gonna space on these names now. You got the boxer briefs, right? The bag, anything you get from our friends at Manscaped on Friday is 25% off. You don't even have to use our code. So just go there and you will get 25% off anything site-wide. And if you're watching this and it's not Friday and you do want a discount, you'll get a discount with our code. Use AFC North Talk, all one word, AFC North Talk.
I wonder if 25% and then you can put our code and you get extra.
You can't combine them. You cannot combine them.
Man, we have a gangster right there.
You trying to rob Manscaped while they show his ad space on here?
I don't know if you do this. I do this all the time. When they say put a promo code, I go online, promo code for this, and then I keep putting promo.
See if they stack.
You're trying to defraud Manscaped. Oh my goodness. You're going to take it off the show.
All right, we got a super chat here in Novastone 12, $5 super chat. Really appreciate it. And again, we love when you guys write in and try to derail the show. Even with Peters, they only had 10 interceptions last year, 13 to 12. The 2 years, 13 and 12, the 2 years before, while teams like the Patriots normally get 20 plus interceptions each year. Why the difference?
Okay. There's two things. One, we haven't had free safety since Weddle left. That is actually a decent free safety.
You're throwing Joker under the bus right now?
Well, this is the thing. I think Joker is a strong safety, right? That they made him play a free safety.
Yeah.
You don't have this roaming safety that can be rangy and make plays.
What's his name, man? The roll runner.
Every.
Oh, yeah. What about
Earl?
Earl.
In his prime.
The problem that we have with Earl Thomas is as soon as he got here, he complained that this defense was too complex. Anyway, and then the second thing,
run and get the ball, and then you go get them 20 plus interceptions if you let
the second big problem the Ravens have for interception is they like to play man. Man is not conducive to picks. That's why you see more fumbles, right? You see more DPs, right? Pass deflections, PDs. But not an interception necessarily. When you play zone, your defense is facing the quarterback. They can attack better. But yeah, that's essentially what it is. I don't know what the Patriots play, to be honest. I don't know what usually they go, but the Ravens, they play a lot of man.
Yeah.
And this year, every time they go to zone, they get lost. I mean, it's comical. I hate when they go zone. They get completely lost.
And the thing about zone that it's more conducive to interceptions is you just get quarterbacks confused as to where everybody's going to be, and they just that's we've seen guys do that this year. Not with the Baltimore, but around the league. All right, another one here. Shane
died so heavily on the line.
Yeah. Shane Garrett, another super chat here, $4.99. Appreciate it. Ravens smoke and mirror show comes to an end Sunday night. Chubb has a history of big runs in Baltimore, and Conklin back will pay dividends. Browns fans feeling a little confident going into this one. Look, I'm not, as I said, I think this is, I'm picking the Ravens because I think it's more of a, I think this is a game where the Ravens are just the better team right now, but both teams are hot and cold right now, and it depends on which one shows up hot and which one shows up cold. Not gonna shock me if
Lamar goes for a bathroom break and
this is what I'm concerned about.
Get him some Pepto.
Talk about Lamar being sick, and he's been on these IVs and he's been hurt.
He has been in IV treatment.
I'm like, if Lamar got diarrhea and he played this week, boy, I'm not liking our chances at all. Like, Marquise Brown might have a career day against the Cleveland Browns if that's the case. That's another thing I'm worried about with this secondary, right? Marquise Brown is a master of the broken play at this point, right? Just finding that broken space, and Lamar is a master at finding him, and that's something that's bit us in the butt before. So
yep, Bateman has been doing that too. When there's a broken play, you can see Bateman starting bailing out to try to help Lamar. He's been really good on that too. So
yeah, Bateman's a great wide receiver. I really believe that he's going to be one of the better ones in the league one day. He's not as good as like Chase Claypool, but I only said that to troll Tony.
Don't even start with me with Chase Claypool.
He's
You
the best
can't.
wide receiver in the league.
He can't hurt me. By the way,
Mapletron.
I sent you guys.
Mapletron.
Listen,
You sent that link.
I
You
sent that. Yeah, listen. I accept your guys' apology. It's fine.
No,
Don't worry
I
about
won't
it.
apologize. That should have been a touchdown if Ben throws. the
If
ball.
Ben throws a better ball, yeah, but nobody want to blame Ben because y'all just hate
Yeah.
Chase. Y'all hate
Again,
Mapletron.
and this is what I love about that argument. We're not going back because again, you're not doing this to me. You see, I said it was Ben's fault too, but people want to ignore that and just okay. Anyway, all right, we got another.
You're like, it's Ben's fault, but I'm focused on Chase Claypool.
It's Ben's fault, but Claypool is a very responsible party in that. Now, moving on here, we got another super chat here
Claypool
from.
needs to get traded so he can shine somewhere else. Free Chase Claypool, free Double C.
Yeah,
let's go. Let's get it going, man. Free him. I need LeBron to tweet.
He's free to stay on his feet when the ball's coming his way too, but
he's
he doesn't
free
do
to
it.
shine. If you get him with a real quarterback like Russell Wilson or Matthew Stafford, boy, oh my gosh, the numbers are gonna be crazy. Chase Claypool will be.
Oh my goodness, you give him and Deontay with Heineke.
By the way, I picked Heineke this week for my fantasy quarterback.
Did you? Who are they playing?
Who are they playing? I think it was the Giants.
Oh, okay. I like that. Yeah, Brady lit him up. And as we know, Heineke's a better quarterback on the field. We saw that earlier this year. Heineke better than Brady on the field this year. So love where your head's at there. All right. Another super chat. Nova Stone 12, $2 super chat here says Pats play man all the time and cover zero a lot. That's true. And I'm looking up the Patriots stats now. They have had a couple outliers. Obviously that, Stephon Gilmore won Defensive Player of the Year with a gajillion
they
interceptions that one year.
They play the Jets in Miami a lot?
Yeah, they might
What's that?
They play the Jets in Miami a lot?
They're in a bad quarterback division.
That helps.
Yeah, that helps a little bit. No, their interceptions. So the 1 year, when did Gilmore win Defensive Player of the Year? What year was that?
2018.
Was it 18? He had 6 interceptions that year. 20 passes defended. And then they just had a really complete secondary for a lot of years. I mean, they had, you talk about Devin McCourty, J.C. Jackson. They just, they've had a very, very good secondary. And look, so have the Ravens. Not going to say.
And the Patriots, they don't run like one thing all the time. Like that's what they're really good at. They can disguise, man.
They disguise really well.
Yeah, they do those things really well. But like they play a lot of zone. Yeah. Bill Belichick notoriously plays. Well, not notoriously because he's good at it, but Bill Belichick, big zone guy. Big zone. Anybody, look, see, this is some stuff y'all don't know because y'all haven't had to deal with the Belichick rejects. But I have dealt with Romeo Crennel. I have dealt with Eric Mangini. I have dealt with all of the rejects. And they all run the Belichick system. And with Belichick system, don't got Belichick to disguise it all. You see that it's just bare booty zone at the base of it with not a lot of flair when the coaches aren't that great around it.
All right. Another super chat here, $2 from TGAT Relic, who says Kitchens is the new play caller for the Giants. Are you excited? You excited to watch a Freddie Kitchens offense again?
A fake punt or something the last time he was the play caller versus the Browns? Like, didn't he do something silly?
That's
got to be the head coach.
He did that on the Browns, didn't he?
Yeah. He did. It was Sunday Night Football against the
Browns. Yeah. That I remember.
Sunday Night Football. He gets the book. That's what it is.
There it is.
I mean? Hey, I wonder if Browns fans want Freddie Kitchens to call plays because they want a new play caller every week.
Oh, there you go. Okay, let's talk about Steelers. Bengals, and I know my Bengals fans over here and in the chat are excited with this. Let's go and take Ace's take for this game.
All right, guys. So it is Steelers week for the Bengals. This game is going to be held at Paul Brown Stadium. The Bengals won the first matchup 24-10 at Heinz Field. But getting into things, this is going to be an important game. Obviously, you talk about the division win being on the line. That's about a dub and a half, I like to call it. And it's a big one because both of these teams are vying for a playoff spot. They're vying to still try to get the number one spot in the division. So it's a big game. But coming into it, let's just start off with the stats. The Cincinnati Bengals offense ranks 15th as far as passing in the league. So they're right at the middle of the pack. Running, however, has been an issue outside of last week with Joe Mixon. On the season, they've been in the bottom 10, 22nd. But they did get some things going with Joe Mixon last week in Oakland, and he was key to the victory. You talk about the scoring offense, they're 9th in the league, so they're a top 10 scoring unit inside of the NFL. You talk about the total offense, that's going to bring them around 18th, so a little bit below the midpoint there. But one of the other things that they're really good at is average points per drive. They're ranking 10th in the NFL in terms of that offensively. Third down conversion, they're 16th. So I talked about that last week. I think they were around 19th or something like that. They moved up this week against Oakland. So starting to push that up a bit. When you get to the Pittsburgh side of things, which I had a lot of heavy criticism for that offense last week, and then, of course, in true fashion, they go out and put up 37 points. But looking at them overall, passing offense in Pittsburgh, 18th. The run offense has been kind of, an issue for them this season. I think it's 27th in the league in rushing offense. Scoring, they're 20th. So it's weird because, if you look at them from some aspects, some people consider them a successful offense, but in scoring, that just has been something like I touched on last week, that they have not done well this season. Third down conversion percentage that I talked about last week is something that they have done. So it's sort of a weird kind of thing there, but it brings them and rounds them out to 24th in total offense. The other weird thing is average points per drive. They're actually 22nd, which isn't too crazy, right? Because they're 20th in scoring. But that was another thing that stood out, that separated these two teams in terms of their differences offensively. Defensively, you already know with Cincinnati, it's a lot of a zone look. We don't really blitz that much. As far as the defense, it really got back on track against the Las Vegas Raiders. And the passing defense right now, statistically, in terms of yards, is 11th, run fourth in the league. So that's going to bring your total defense to essentially top 10 defense, right? You talk about Pittsburgh in terms of that. They're 19th against the pass, 25th against the run, which is crazy because they were at the beginning of the season a little bit better at guarding the run. It really just exploded in that Lions game. They're also a low blitz zone look kind of team. But one of the things that they struggle with are passes to the running back. So I think with the Bengals, they're definitely going to want to keep the recipe with going back to Mixon, also taking advantage of that, but also getting Mixon involved in the passing game, because we all talk about as Bengal fans how we have struggled against running backs as far as receiving in that receiving area. The Steelers are actually ranked worse than us according to Sharp Football Stats. So that is something interesting, something that we can take advantage of. So look to try to see if Joe Mixon, Chris Evans, even Samaje Perine in the passing game can have some big days. And I think that if you use somewhat of the same plan that you used against Las Vegas, I think that you can have some success, but I think that you can also do some things in the passing game. Obviously, we saw that Jamar Chase had a big game against them the last time that these two teams matched up. And maybe he's not the focal point. I think the focal point has to be Joe Mixon. But I think if you have a part B, then maybe it is that passing game where you talk about Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase being those other guys. But I think that that's what the focus should be going into it now. Defensively, you're going to have to stop Deontay Johnson. It really starts with him. I think that that's the guy that you need to focus on. Some people may say Najee Harris. Some people may say Claypool. I personally believe that it's Deontay Johnson. He's the guy that makes that offense go. And you're not going to shut him completely down, but you have to contain him. I always talk about that when it comes to these guys. The guys that are really good, you're never just going to completely take them out of a game. So contain that guy. Focus on Claypool. Obviously, Najee Harris, you got to make sure that he doesn't kill you out of the backfield. They don't really run that much. They're really a passing team. So really, Najee Harris is going to be a guy that can hurt you in that aspect. And really what you want to do is just try to put up 30-plus points against this team because they struggle offensively. And I say that even after the Chargers game. But like I said before, the situations that they were able to score in is how they were able to score. So if you get them into those positions, you don't turn the ball over, you do what you can, you let your offense run fluid, try to get on top of this team, try to get them to do some turnovers, which they haven't done that in recent weeks. Yeah, I think if they do those things, they can come out of here with a victory. The ELO scores have this as a 60% chance for the Bengals to win by 3 points. I think that this is going to be a close game. I think that the Bengals do find a way to put this one away. I think that they go out here and get a big victory. Who dat?
Okay, there you have it. Let's talk to Tony because Tony.
We got a couple super chats. Yeah, we got a super chat. All right. Mr. Whisperer, $5 super chat says, Tony, who is personally more disappointing to you this season with their drop and play, Claypool Bush or Minka. I know Minka has a drop in play as far as him being a superstar he's not gonna make it all pro for the third straight year in all likelihood, although with the way Pro Bowl voting works, he'll probably make the Pro Bowl. But I think you saw last week, right? You take Minka off of that defense, and it was just a disaster in that secondary. I'm disappointed with Claypool, but not as much as I'm disappointed with what we've seen from Devin Bush. And it's a hard one because the ACL, and you wonder how much of that is the ACL tear. But as I said, he's not playing with aggressiveness. He doesn't seem like he has the same burst or speed that we've seen from him in the past. And so, you are left with a future of Devin Bush where you start to wonder about this offseason. Do you have to look at inside linebacker just in case, Devin Bush doesn't turn it around? Because right now, I mean, he's a liability defensively. All right, another super chat here.
What drop in play from Chase Claypool are you talking about? He's the best wide receiver in football.
It's a drop in quarterback play that is hindering.
There we go.
Yeah, it's the quarterback. It's the quarterback's fault. You know what I mean? He can't get the ball out deep enough for Chase Claypool to eat.
Yeah.
If every ball, okay, now I'm not. You know what?
Man,
that's bait. That's bait. I almost took it. Woo.
Chase Claypool should join Odell in L.A.
I want that.
Yeah.
Chase Claypool should join Odell in L.A. and they would light the league up.
Yep.
Yeah, great. Derek here writes in with a $5 super chat, says Q Browns should upgrade at QB and go grab Sam Darnold.
Hold on one second. I got something.
What do you think?
Yeah, something.
This came in the mail. This is the attention that Derek ordered. Here it is. Here you go. Here's your attention, because I know that is not a serious take. Hope you enjoy this attention, Derek. But you got it. There you go. 2 days shipping faster than Amazon. Your attention is here.
But Tony, I want to know.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Steelers lost the first matchup here between the Bengals and you guys. And obviously, if the Steelers want to keep pace, right? They're right now third, right?
Third in the division. Yeah.
If they win, they go second, and they split with the Bengals. So that's obviously important for them. If they lose, things are starting to not look great for the Steelers. So what do you think the Steelers need to do if they want to come with this victory, or is this victory even possible?
All right. Before I get to that, we got to start with the most important part of this game. No one's talked about it yet. What's the line? What's the over-under? The line on this game in Cincinnati, Bengals by 4 is what it opened at. And we have moved now to either 4.5 or 5. In fact, I did that like an hour ago. And I thought this was because the Steelers were going to get a bad injury report. They didn't get a bad injury report, but they got a not great injury report. Let's see if that's moved.
Who's not playing this game?
It's actually stayed. It's actually, I'm going to take that back because it is kind of stabilized at 4.5 at this point. Over under in this game at 45. Yeah, the Steelers, look, they're getting, obviously health is going to be the big issue here, right? You talk about the last 2 weeks, and both of those games, you can make a strong argument that if they had Ben Roethlisberger in that Lions game, regardless of the absurdity that was overtime in that game, Ben probably is enough to get them over the line against the Lions. Then obviously TJ, Minka, Hayden, Justin Herbert, all over that defense. Those guys obviously would have made an impact. So for Minka Fitzpatrick, they are expecting him to come back. I don't know if he's been activated yet, but they are expecting that he will be activated from the COVID reserve list. Hayden did not practice today, but Tomlin was confident in his Tuesday press conference to say that he expected Hayden back. So watch the injury reports on Thursday and Friday and see if he can get back, even in a limited capacity. He's a veteran. Tomlin will let him practice or let him play, even if he only practices in a limited capacity. And then Watt did practice in a limited capacity. Interesting to know here about TJ Watt. He has been hurt. Kind of on and off this year. Games in which TJ Watt finished the game, the Steelers are 5-1 in those football games. He got hurt against the Raiders. He did not play in this matchup the last time these two played. And then he did not play in that game against the Chargers, obviously. Isaiah Loudermilk is a reserve lineman for the Steelers. He's coming back. It seems like he's limited right now. Here's an interesting stat provided by Alex Kozora, who writes for Steelers Depot. Yards per carry. Run defense has been an issue, as Ace pointed out, for the Steeler defense. Right now, they have been really depleted on this defensive line without Alualu and without Stephon Tuitt. But that's pretty much been the entire year. Alualu was hurt early in the year. Tuitt hasn't played pretty much the entire season. Yards per carry when these defensive linemen are on the field. Cam Hayward, obviously, 4.3 yards per carry. Not great, but best on the team of the starters. Chris Wormley, 4.8. Isaiah Buggs, 5.6. Henry Mondo.
You're welcome for Wormley.
Wormley's been decent. He's been not terrible. Henry Mondo, 6.7. And how about this? Rookie Isaiah Loudermilk, when he is on the field, 2.9 yards per carry. Now, obviously, small sample size there, very, very small sample size because he's kind of just getting ramped up in these last 5 or so games. But still, he's been impressive. Tomlin was talking about at the press conference, and I think getting him back, I talked about this last week. I thought losing him in that Lions game, I thought you could put him in the same kind of conversation with guys like Hayden and Watt and Minka because of the struggles the Steelers have had on keeping defensive linemen healthy. So getting him back would be really, really big. Going over to the offensive side, the Steelers are going to have a problem at guard. Turner didn't practice. Trey Turner didn't practice today, nor did J.C. Hassanauer. Those are your starting left guard or starting right guard and backup left guard. I mean, the Steelers may end up playing with Rashad Coward and Joe Haig as your starting guards. I mean, these are both guards right now hurt going into this game. Did not practice. Watch for that as we go, because I think as Sonny will talk about later in the show, trenches they're going to be a part of this matchup.
You know it.
The other guy I want to talk about here real quick when we talk about the injury report, Deontay Johnson. Now, he's not hurt or anything going into this game, but he was not available in this last matchup. Right? We talk about T.J. Watt not playing in that game. We'll talk about all the T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith part of the last game defensively. But Deontay didn't play either. And as Ace hit on in that video, he's becoming such an integral part of this Steeler offense in their ability to move the football. Without Juju Smith-Schuster, and I'm not saying that Deontay enters in the conversation of number one receiver. I do not want to have a number one receiver conversation with Deontay, but he clearly is the guy in this offense, right? Big moments in the game. Who are you going to? It's Deontay Johnson, and so that makes him like a pseudo number one, at least in the Steelers offense. But as I said earlier in the show, right? Look, I don't know that you talked about, is this a must win for the Steelers? I don't know if it's a truly like loser. No, it's close. Yeah. Cause look, 5 wins isn't eliminating anybody from AFC North contention or AFC wildcard contention, but it is like a loser leaves heartbreaking because both teams have tough schedules down the stretch. And this is a game that I think both teams are going to feel like is winnable coming in. Obviously the Bengals are going to feel like this is winnable. They've won the last 2. They won one with Ryan Finley a year ago. Right. And the Steelers are going to feel like, hey, listen, this Bengals team, sure, they look good against the Raiders, but they got the doors blown off them by Cincinnati, and they look bad against Mike White. So can we have the same level of success as those two teams did? The last matchup in this one, the earlier in the year, it was decided by the line of scrimmage, right? The trenches play. The Bengals were not only able to get Joe Mixon going in that game, they kept Joe Burrow clean. There was no Watt, no Highsmith in that game. That was a game with pretty much Melvin Ingram as your only edge rusher for the Steelers, or only notable edge rusher. And Ben was sacked 4 times. I mean, they threw the ball 60. Ben threw the ball 60 times in that game, so 4 out of 60. Percentage wise, maybe not as bad, but still, you get sacked 4 times. Not great. The Steelers managed just 45 yards rushing in that game, and even worse than that, we talk about I don't like total yards. How about this? A success rate rushing the football 6%. That's obviously the lowest
for the
Steelers have had. No, for the Steelers. Steelers rushing offense, 6% success rate on rushing plays. They're by far their worst of the season. And all that being said, while last time these two teams played, it was a terrible game on the field. On the scoreboard, that game was close throughout. Remember that it took a Jamar Chase late touchdown in the first half to separate those two teams at halftime. It was 14-7, and then you had Ben Roethlisberger's interception in the third quarter, the first drive of the third quarter, that gave the ball to the Bengals inside the red zone. You turned a 7-7 game at the end of the first half into a 24-7 game after the Steelers' first possession in the second half, and that game was over. So, I mean, if you're talking about kind of X's and O's and all that, I think the thing the Steelers need to do in this game is avoid those big mistakes, right? If the Bengals want to win this game at the line of scrimmage, if the Bengals want to get Joe Mixon going, if that's what's going to get their offense going in this football game, I think the Steelers are going to say, good. You want to play grimy trenches type football? That's what we want to do too. You want to slow the game down. You want to limit possessions. You want to play that style. That's what we do every week, right? The Steelers are going to, that is the identity of the Steelers. You see that, Steelers Browns from a couple weeks back, right? Where that was a grimy in the trenches type of game. There were no big plays in that football game. It was just kind of in the trenches, both teams trying to punch each other in the mouth. If the Steelers can keep a lid on big plays and don't turn the ball over, avoid the big mistakes, well, then the Browns' inconsistency on offense, right? The amount of, the Bengals' inconsistency on offense kind of negates their advantages that they have. When we talk about the defensively, the advantages they have against the Steeler offense, where they're going to force the Steelers to throw the ball more because very likely this Steeler offense is not going to get a running game going in this one. So I don't even think the trenches are going to be the biggest part of this game. I think the difference maker in this football game, if I had to pick one part of the ball and one player in particular that is going to make the difference in Steelers and Bengals on Sunday, it's Ben Roethlisberger. Right? He had a great night on Sunday, for again, I say great night, but kind of, we're talking about Ben Roethlisberger at 39 years of age right now. And as Ace pointed out on our last show, Ben Roethlisberger has not thrown an interception since week 4. If those things stay consistent, if Ben Roethlisberger can attack this Bengals secondary, if he can get rid of the ball quickly, like he did against Cleveland, doesn't need to have a great game, but don't turn the ball over and get this offense to score 2 or 3 touchdowns. And if they can do that, I think the Steelers win this football game. Now, Ben has had back-to-back horrific games against this Bengals team. You'll remember that Monday night game a year ago where he had like 11 passing yards at halftime. And in the last game they played, he had 2 interceptions. He was awful in that game this season. If that stays consistent in this, and Ben cannot move the football against this secondary, well, then I think the Bengals are going to win this one. But this is AFC North football in November, baby. And let's not forget one other X factor to talk about in this game. The Steelers quit at the end of that one, and Tyler Boyd was very quick to call them out for it, right? The bulletin board material that he put out there, listen, Mike Tomlin's using that this week. Absolutely. If you don't think Mike Tomlin every week is telling his team in the locker room, they think you quit last time. You did quit last time. And using that as motivation on Sunday, absolutely that's happening. The Steelers in a tough, grimy game where the Bengals want to play a tough, grimy game, and you're going to give me 4.5 points? Yeah, this game's going to be a field goal. Yeah, this is going to be a field goal game. Give me Steelers plus 4.5. In fact, give me Steelers money line in this one. I'll take the Steelers outright. The Steelers are winning in Paul Brown Stadium on Sunday.
Okay. AJ&M, thank you for the donation. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I agree. Happy Thanksgiving. Q, what do you think the Steelers and Bengals game is going to look like?
Oh, man. What can I say about this? One, I think technically I should want the Bengals to win, right? Because we know we could beat the Bengals again. So we know the tiebreaker situation could be easier versus the Bengals. But Pittsburgh, we have more issues with. But nonetheless, I'm not even worried about the division until we show we could beat Baltimore. Nonetheless, this game. And yeah, logically, I can understand why somebody would go with the Bengals, right? They have the better quarterback, running back, you know what I mean?
O-line?
Wide receivers are they got better wide. Well, I don't know. Chase Claypool is reaching all-time status here, but
talk him up. Talk him up. I like when you talk up a guy. Maybe he'll listen. He goes for 150 this week.
I think it's a big game for him and Eric Ebron. I think Eric Ebron's
out for the year. Pour one out. Ebron's out for the year. I didn't even mention it in my injury report.
Oh, Ebron's out
for the year.
Out
for the year.
Dangerous. That's gonna be dangerous.
Is it? Zach Gentry, Kevin Rader, baby.
No. It's exactly why I'm saying it's dangerous. I think they're legitimately a better offense without Eric Ebron jumping at the 5-yard line to get an extra yard.
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah. So I can see where Bengal fans would be excited, man. Y'all just blew out the Steelers. Y'all did this thing. Now you get them at the house at Paul Brown Stadium, the Jungle. They tell me it's called the Jungle. I've never been in there and thought it was the Jungle, but they say it's a jungle out there, right? That's what y'all call it, right? Bengal fans, y'all call it the Jungle. Who they nation, whatever y'all call yourself, the Jungle. All right. So y'all call it the Jungle. Y'all got Pittsburgh walking in the jungle. And what's gonna happen this week? You know what's gonna happen this week. Tony knows it's good. That's why Tony is unusually confident this week.
It's a quiet confidence. It's a quiet.
I know this confidence because I felt the same exact thing before the Browns walked into Paul Brown Stadium. We know what this is. It's time for the Bengals to hit that seesaw, which means some weeks you're going to feel like this is the greatest team and we're going to do it. And the other weeks you have inexplainable performances that you don't want to talk about after that game happens. And this is going to be one of them. If TJ Watt plays, that's a big problem for the Cincinnati Bengals, right? I think one of the things that got lost in translation is the pressure that Myles Garrett got on Joe Burrow forced a lot of mistakes by Joe Burrow. And another thing that's getting lost in translation, because I know Bengal fans like to act like, Joe Burrow is already a top 5 quarterback and an MVP candidate or whatever they feel like he is because they feel it emotionally, but it's not really there physically. turnover streak is continued, right? He fumbled the ball last week and turned it over against the Raiders. Again, they didn't lose the game, so it didn't matter that much. But this is a dude who is now, at this point, at least this season, I don't know for his whole career, but this season has proven he is turnover prone, right? To a defense that can force some mistakes here. So that's going to be a question. Can Joe Burrow play a clean game if TJ Watt is out there, right? Like, that's going to be a huge question. Is Minka going to be out there? Is he still hurt?
Minka's on the COVID list and he's coming back.
All right. So, if Minka's out there, can he not make those same mistakes, right? This is going to be a question about Joe Burrow. Is Joe Burrow good enough to complete the sweep? Is he going to return on this promise that you guys have told me about, right? The Bengals are different. Why? Because Joe Burrow. Well, if they are that different, they should be able to complete the sweep against the Pittsburgh Steelers, because that's what a different team would do. But I don't know. Joe Burrow ain't been looking that different this year. He's been looking okay at times, pretty good at times, still making mistakes, still turning the ball over. And I don't know if that's going to cost them, just because I don't know what to expect out of the Steelers offense in all reality. I know we talk about Chase Claypool being the best wide receiver of all time on this show, because he is. But how can you get Chase Claypool the ball when Ben can't throw it to him on time and on target?
Yep.
Definitely.
I need to get in contact with Chase Claypool's dad and provide him some material to post on Instagram. You know what I mean? Because Chase Claypool is literally always open, right?
Mapletron.
When he's open, he loves leaving his feet.
Have it trademark. Does Chase Claypool's team have that trademark?
No one really calls him Mapletron anymore, because in order to be Mapletron, you probably got to win a 50-50 ball here and there. So
he makes everything a 50-50 ball, so he does win most.
He does. He makes everything a 50-50 ball. That's true. That is true.
Because he has to consistently turn back around to catch these balls, because they ain't coming
dive
strong
backwards.
Enough with Big
Ben. If by that you mean dive backwards, then we're in complete agreement on this one.
Ben be underthrowing Chase Claypool so often. Chase Claypool might as well start his route in his back pedal. Okay.
I will say this. Let me interject here for a moment. I think this game, as Tony said, he said that I was gonna say trenches is important.
Of course.
What D-line will force more pressure on the quarterback? That is key. That is key number one. I cannot tell you. Might be the Bengals, might be the Steelers. Right now, if I was a betting man, which sometimes I am, I would say Bengals are probably gonna force that the pressure a little bit more. Not because they have the better player, but I think they have a better collection on the D line. Okay.
This is where we need to stop being scientific about this. The Bengals are not sweeping the Steelers. They're just not. That's just not something that's happening. They want it too bad right now for it to happen for them, right? Like it's
a karma play. I like this.
They made the whole joke about the Bengals fellas. I mean, the Steelers quit. You know what? When the Browns beat down the Bengals, you didn't hear our players talking about the Bengals quit, right? But the Bengals beat down one team and they swear that team quit. Oh man, they quit on us. They don't know how to blow anybody out. And that's going to cost them this game, because they the Bengals. And the Bengals ain't going to do this because they the Bungles. That's what the Bungles do, Bungle fans. So don't come back here salty when they don't do it, because y'all know y'all wasn't going to do it. That's why y'all projected so hard, because y'all the Bungles.
Okay. So the other
I agree, but can't co-sign because I'm too superstitious.
Okay, but the other place where I think this is where I guess I disagree with Tony is the running game for me is key. If the Steelers cannot stop Mixon, and Mixon can run decently, you're talking about you're gonna have problem in the passing game between Chase or Higgins or Boyd. Well, talk about if Mixon's eating and the play action will hit, right? So I think, if anything, the Steelers have to make them one-dimensional. They have to make them one-dimensional, because they have a good passing game, but it's not a consistent passing game, as we had talked before, right? Like Ace talk about the Bengals are 15th on passing offense. That team should not be 15, right? Bengals tell me, oh, we have the Migos here and all this. Migos should not be 15 on passing offense, right? So if you can,
Maybe it's the quarterback holding him back.
oh man, if you get Mixon involved and Mixon is eating Tony, especially if they jump into a lead and you cannot stop Mixon, I think it can definitely be bad for the Steelers. Look, I there's something to Q's madness here. It's hard to sweep a team. It's just hard to sweep a team in the AFC North.
Yeah,
it's just hard, right? Like I guess we haven't played. Well, we're gonna play Quincy and Tony back to back. But anyway, overall, it's hard to sweep a team. So Steelers sweeping the Browns is gonna be harder, and the Bengals sweeping the Steelers is gonna be harder. But saying all that, I don't know, man. It's just I have no faith right now in the Steelers. Look, as a Ravens fan right now, who do I guess is better for us? They win the Steelers, right? Steelers win. That puts us, and if we win on Sunday, that puts us in a better position, especially since the Bengals were the team that beat us. So I want to pick the Steelers badly, but I'm going to go Bengals here. Now, the line is 4. I think the Steelers will lose by a field goal. I think it's going to be a tie game. I think it's going to be – I don't know what the over-under is.
45.
45? I don't even know if it's going to hit 45.
You like the under?
Well, actually, I like 45. It's like 24-21, which is, I guess, 45. I hate those lines. They always should have a half a point there. So you don't have a push. But I'm taking the Bengals in a close game. I don't think they're blowing out the Steelers, though. I think I think T.A. White will be a difference, right? It's definitely going to be a difference. Minka, I can see Minka having a pick 6 this week.
Yeah, I mean that's this is the reason why I think the over-under for me is a stay away is the. I'm not putting this out. I'm not putting this out in the universe.
Put it out.
No. I did a quick check up earlier. Listen, the Deontay thing I didn't mention. I literally did not mention it all year, and it took him half a season before he broke my heart with it. There's another thing there's another streak that's happening right now, which
Ben hasn't thrown an interception since
I literally have not said a single word. So
in the last 5 games, he hasn't thrown a pick. I know we know that Big Ben.
Ben hasn't thrown a pick 6 since the Buffalo game in 2020. You know that one?
I didn't know that one.
Yeah, it's been almost a year upcoming since the last time Big Ben has thrown a pick 6.
Ooh. But Tony, I think.
So anyway, there are some things out there that I'm not going to mention.
Like we can read his mind.
There's some things that I'm not going to talk about personally that make me a little afraid to that I could see this game kind of getting out of hand in one way or the other. Right? Like we talked about we talked about Joe Burrow and some of his turnover stuff, and there's some other stuff out there. This turnovers could have a big part of this game, and then you end up you don't want to sweat out 30 minutes at the end of the game.
Battle.
Yeah.
By the way, I see y'all in there.
For two teams that want to run the football, for two teams that want to run the football and want to kind of shorten the game and limit the possessions and whatnot, I think turnovers. This is you can just you don't have to look at the box score.
Look for you. The Steelers really want to run the football.
Yeah,
because they haven't been good all year.
Okay, they weren't good. They were not good against. I mean, like we talk about good compared to what? Good compared to last year. Well, they're much better than they were a year ago.
I mean,
they were far away the worst.
When you rush the ball 23, 24 times and you cannot hit 100.
Yeah, but but here's what they're doing. So they're it's like a West Coast style of offense because they supplement. Look, they can't run the ball more than that because what are you gonna do? Run Najee 35 times a game? And you watch the crazy
I'm not
thing.
Saying the attempts. I'm just saying the yards per attempt.
Balaj out there 15 times.
No, the yards per attempt thing. It's more about success rate to me and that kind of thing. And I think one of the things that has been really good for the Steelers. They're one of the best short yardage teams in the NFL this year. In fact, I think they're top 5 in short yardage conversion.
They were awful in short yardage.
They were the literal worst team in the National Football League. It was nearly a 50-50 proposition to convert 1 yard.
I remember those Derek Watt, first fourth and 1 plays that y'all used to run that were pretty predictable. So shout out to Matt Canada.
And then the other thing, listen, Matt Canada, poor Matt Canada. You know what? You guys are
right with his boy Mapletron. This offense would be.
By the way, I'm surprised you guys didn't pick. I don't know if you guys watched the game live. There were 2 moments in the game that I loved between Ben and Canada. Now Ben and Canada can't yell at each other on the sideline because Canada is up in the booth, right? So there were two moments that I loved in that game, which is the one time, I think it was after the flip play, when Ben looked up to the thing and did this kind of like, what are we doing? Kind of motion at Canada, right? And it's like, uh-oh, trouble in paradise. Did they hate each other? It took them 11 weeks, but here they go. They hate each other. But then later in the game, of course, after the comeback, right? Ben points up like, yeah, you're the man. Great call. You know, like they squashed the beef right there in the middle of the same game. So, but anyway,
talking to Matt Canada, or was he talking to God? What's the difference?
No, he does the God one all the time. But he was this time he was specifically pointing to Matt Canada. Now, the one thing you guys did not, I know you guys aren't involved in like Steeler minutia, but there's been a lot of talk about how involved Mike Tomlin is in play calling in Pittsburgh. This has been a talking point for years in Pittsburgh. He is the shadow DC. I mean, this is a thing that it has been reported like a billion times, but never outright confirmed, but just kind of hinted at.
Not assumed he wasn't.
He's been shadow DC since about 2017.
Yeah,
but then the question is, so then they asked him, well, do you call off plays on offense? Do you suggest plays on offense? And here is his quote. Now exact quote. He said, "I do more than suggest when it comes to offensive play calling."
Let me ask, because I think for example, what Harbaugh will say to you is, if I want here to be more running plays in this drive or whatever, he will say, hey, let's just pick a running play, right? But the OC picks the running play. That makes sense?
Yeah, see, and then this is where, and the Tomlin will never admit to this. They asked him that. They said, okay, because there was a play where, Steeler fans got open arms. Why don't we use the fullback? So they did have a Watt brother. Yeah, that's right. You paid Derek Watt $2.3 million a year to play special teams. They lined him up as a fullback. They ran Najee up the middle and on the goal line, scored a touchdown, right? So they asked him, hey, first time you really ever used Derek Watt in that situation all year. Was that specifically, was that your call? And he wouldn't answer. He said, look, I'm not going to get into the exact minutia of it. I would imagine, though, that because Tomlin is a very good defensive mind, right? I mean, that's where he got his come up. So I would imagine that he notices tendencies defensively. And of course, he's going to chime in certain moments of saying like, hey, and then of course, just game situation stuff. I mean, obviously every head coach, when you're talking about game management, that is the job of a head coach to tell the OC, hey, we're running clock here, right? You're running the ball on this drive, and then the OC is kind of limited in, okay, what running play am I going to call here? And of course, you could talk about being picking more conservative play calls, right? Like in those moments, you're more likely to call a run up the middle than you are some kind of crazy end around reverse if you're trying to run clock, right? That kind of thing. So I think he has a lot of influence in that way.
It is amazing. People still ask questions about Mike Tomlin and like his coaching protocols. Like he's in his third year. Like it's like, come on, man.
Well, okay.
It's like with any veteran head coach, though, you would expect. I would expect that he calls some plays on offense at the very least, just because, if he's on the sideline and he feels that they need to go play action, though, he knows all the plays in the playbook. So I don't know what they call them, but he feels like they need to go Z cross or something like that. He's going to call the play. He's going to be like, hey, let's go that here. He's going to, that's what a head coach does. I mean, that's what Bill Belichick does. That's what Pete Carroll does. Name any veteran head coach. Sean Payton, who is his go-to comparison. Mike Tomlin personally, he loves to go to that one. He's like, would you ask Sean Payton this question?
Yeah.
But they're gonna override things. I get he's a defensive guy, but he's not. People get this idea that if you're a defensive coach, you somehow have no knowledge of the offense and vice versa. But it's nah, you probably have to know football pretty well.
No,
either of those coaches. And even if you're a special teams coach like John Harbaugh, he knows people well. He knows, hey, because I know John Harbaugh does this a lot. Hey, let's try to get Hollywood the ball here. We need Hollywood to get the touch here. You know what I mean? Let's get going. Let's get Lamar going on the ground. That's what the head coach does.
Yeah. I think the best offensive minds and the best defensive minds understand the other side of the ball really, really well. That's how you get great at offense, right? It's understanding how defenses are and what's hard about coaching defense, right? What's hard about, running cover two and where are the seams there that you can dig into, or what's hard about disguising coverage. And then how do we screw with that offensively? I think you have to be when you are a great mind on one side of the ball, it means that you are also a pretty good mind on the other side of the ball because you understand how to attack the weaknesses thereof. Yeah, I think absolutely. We got a super chat here, Sonny. All right, we got Professor Chaos with a $5 super chat. Appreciate that. Hey, Q, I know Donovan Peoples-Jones is questionable, but will Stump be on? Oh, Will Stump be on the sidelines this week? The question of the day.
He's still out indefinitely. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's not a home game, so he might not travel because he got the ACL tear. But man, Stump Mitchell would be there. The Ravens don't got their purple pants. I mean, this is all just riding up to be that's the injury report. See, it's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
You know what I mean,
That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Browns one. Like, we got a whole, like, if you put the Browns and the Ravens injury report together, that's a complete squad. That's the only Super Bowl winning team in the North is the injury report. If you put all 4 teams together on a given week. But also, I want to address Bengal fans out here because Bengal fans seem to think like I hate them. Bengal fans seem to think I'm jealous of them. And I'm asking Bengal fans, what is there for me to hate on about the Bengals? I want to know because honestly, for me, I hope the Bengals win as many games as possible and come into week 17 needing to beat the Browns to get into the playoffs, just so a mediocre dog poop Browns team with a bad quarterback playing at that point in time still puts their dominance over Cincinnati. There would be nothing that would bring me more joy for the Bengals to win 10 games and not get into the playoffs because they couldn't beat the Browns. Like, that would be hilarious to me. I mean, would that not be hilarious to anybody else? But we'll see.
Well, I was on the other side of that, and it was painful.
Oh, yeah, it sucks. It sucks.
It
all I'm going to say is, Bengal fans, you know, I ain't got nothing to hate on because I don't worry about y'all. I don't be thinking about the Bengals. I'm not like, oh God, we gonna play the Bengals. I'm like, man, when we gonna play the Bengals so Baker can get right again? You know what I mean? And right before the playoffs start might be the right time to play the Bengals so Baker can get it going again. Because for whatever reason, Baker Mayfield be looking like Derek Anderson other weeks, but he be looking like Joe Montana versus the Bengals. So I can't wait till the Browns. I wish we played the Bengals 4 times a year because sometimes we need that boost. You know what I mean? Shout out Bengal fans. You know what I mean?
By the way, I just realized the way that this schedule has played itself out. I mean, let's say the Browns do come out and just, they take it to the Ravens on Sunday night. It is possible that the Browns could sweep the Ravens and be at 8-5 coming out, and therefore be in first place in the division
themselves. This is what I'm saying.
What a stupid division the AFC North
whole division has been, huh?
I mean, and then the other thing to think about is that these two. I mean, if the Steelers, so then if the Ravens, the Steelers could be. I mean, any team could be 3 weeks from now.
If
the standings could look completely different than they do today.
Yeah, if any of these 4 teams went out the next 3 weeks, the division race could be over. For like, if Baltimore wins these next 3 games, it's a wrap.
It's probably a wrap. Yeah.
What happens to the Bengals win the next?
Well, the Bengals. Remember the Bengals. The Bengals have some tough games coming up. I mean, they got Chargers Niners in the next 2 weeks. They're both home games, but Chargers Niners is not an easy stretch
for them.
I will say this for all the crap that we are talking about the division. The Steelers are half a game from the 7th seed, and the Browns are 1 game from the 7th seed.
Yeah, right? But the AFC is not good. So
okay, but so it's not only our division; it's the whole.
No. Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean the AFC North is kind of
look at this. If you talk about the NFC, their number 6 and 7 seed are 5-5, right?
Yeah, but they're top heavy. They got legit.
They have 1-9-2.
Yeah, they have the only team that you're like, oh yeah, that's probably going to be who's going to win the Super Bowl is what the Bucks, and then
well.
You could throw the Cardinals in there, but even my hatred of Cliff Kingsbury aside, like if I put it aside, we don't know about the Cardinals, right?
I'm not ruling out the Packers. I'm not ruling out
the Packers too. Like they have the real contenders there. The only contender really that you think can come out and win is the Chiefs because they're playing much better now.
Yes.
Which LOL, right? We were like, oh, are the Chiefs broken? They're broken. They're in last place. It took them all of 3 weeks to get back to first place, and they're not giving it back. Like.
Well, they're not first place.
Do you guys play the Steelers already, Tony?
Have we played the Steelers? Can't.
I'm sorry.
Every day in practice.
The Chiefs.
No. We play the Chiefs
and the Steelers still got to play the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, we got the Chiefs in Kansas City. So I don't remember the last time the Steelers lost in Kansas City. I'm trying to remember. The Steelers have had a lot of fun in Kansas City in recent years.
Unfortunately, it was not.
It was a different quarterback back then, but
it's a different game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, a lot of
If
fun.
if Alex Smith wants to show up in Arrowhead that day, I'm good with it.
I don't know, man, because if Mahomes don't play, they still got Chad Henne. You don't want
Yeah,
nothing to do with Chad
exactly,
Henne.
exactly.
You don't want nothing to do with the Chad Henne shirt.
Alex Smith 2.0. So good with
Chad
it.
Henne is the beast.
I'm good with it.
Okay, guys. So this is the preview of both games. So we want you to make sure you put comments in the comment section. What do you think? Who's winning? Make sure you like. If you have subscribe to the channel. Also, if you can give us a favor and share this content with others so the other AFC North fans can find this. And I'm just going to hint this. Go follow us on Twitter because we're working on a Patreon. We're working on a Patreon where we're going to have some extra content. The videos in here will be staying the same. So we're not going to put none of this behind the paywall. We're just going to put extra content. So make sure you follow us. We're going to put an announcement on Twitter. We're going to make sure we announce it in here. Just to tease you. Anyway.
Even more AFC North content coming up. And it's not just going to, by the way, I do want another preview here, Sonny. I don't mean to spoil anything, but this is not going to be specific to the AFC North, the new content we're doing. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. So make sure if you want to support us a little bit more, stay tuned on those news. Follow us on Twitter because news are coming fast. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. We'll see you next time.